Greetings and welcome to Fright Night Flix, where every night is Fright Night. As I was looking back through the long list of films we've covered on this channel, I realised there was one glaring omission, a film so iconic, so influential, that its absence here felt almost criminal. I'm talking about one of the true goats of horror, a movie that didn't just terrify audiences worldwide, but also reshaped the cultural perception of horror itself by becoming the first horror film ever to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That's right, today we are talking about The Exorcist. Directed by William Friedkin and written by William Peter Blatty, adapting his own novel, The Exorcist has carved out a legacy unlike almost any other horror film. We've touched on it here and there on this channel, but it deserves a full deep dive and its own video. It's also worth noticing that this film holds a special place in the heart of one of my personal inspirations, the great British film critic Mark Kermode. For him, this isn't just his favourite horror film, this is his favourite film of all time. He's written books, made documentaries, and has spoken about great lengths on his podcasts and other platforms why he considers it the pinnacle of cinema. And honestly, I don't think anybody on earth loves The Exorcist as much as he does.
It works for me every time, and every time I see it, it looks like a different film. I can't think of any other way of explaining it other than every time I see it, like any great work of art, like a sculpture that people love, or a painting that people love, or a piece of music that you love. If somebody said to you, you were talking to the Pet Shop Boys just now, and you said the opening of that song is cinematic, okay? Well, but that word doesn't really encompass everything about it. You know what you're trying to describe. If somebody said, okay, explain to me the opening of that film, explain to me what those emotions are, that those chords, you'd be there. Well, that's how I feel about The Exorcist.
But the real question is, do I love it as much as Mark Kermode does? Well, here are my thoughts on The Exorcist.
Then let's get started.
On a purely technical level, The Exorcist is outstanding. William Friedkin's direction is tight, atmospheric and uncompromising. The cinematography by Owen Rosman gives the film its haunting, almost documentary-like realism, making the supernatural elements hit even harder. The editing is sharp, with some transitions that still feel bold and inventive decades later, and the production design, costume and hair and makeup teams work together to ground the story in a very real lived-in world, so when the horror erupts, it feels more shocking.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now here's where my feelings get complicated. I find the first two acts to be very slow. It spends a lot of time establishing the medical investigation and Chris's growing desperation before we even hit the full force of the exorcism. While I respect the slow build and understand why Friedkin structured it that way, I personally wish the pacing picked up a little sooner. That said, the final act is absolutely masterful. The exorcism scene itself, one of the most tense, gripping and frightening finales in horror history. Watching the priest confront evil in its purest form, while we as the audience feel the weight of what's at stake. Magnificent! 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 The performances are unformally excellent and truly iconic. Ellen Burstyn is terrific as Chris MacNeil, grounding the story with her emotional desperation. Blair as Regan delivers a phenomenal and fearless performance, especially considering her young age at the time. Lee J. Cobb brings gravitas to his supporting role as Lieutenant Tinderman, but the standouts to me are Jason Miller as Father Karras and Max von Sydow as Father Merrin. Their performances in that climactic act elevate the film into something almost operatic in its intensity. The weight of their struggle and sacrifice lingers long after the credits roll.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
It's impossible to overstate the cultural impact of The Exorcist. This was a film that dragged horror into the mainstream spotlight, elevating the genre to new heights of respect and legitimacy. Countless supernatural horror films that followed owe their existence in some way to Friedkin's masterpiece. It didn't just influence horror, it influenced cinema as a whole.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
So, do I love The Exorcist as much as Mark Kermode does? No, I can't say I do, but I deeply respect and appreciate it. The direction, screenplay, cinematography, editing, performances and music all combine to create one of the most influential horror films ever made. While its pacing keeps it from me calling it a personal masterpiece, it's undeniably a classic that deserves every ounce of recognition that it has received. For me, The Exorcist gets a rating of a 9 out of 10 and a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all for watching today's video. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to Fright Night Flix, and follow us on social media so you don't miss a single scare. Also, let me know your comments on The Exorcist down below. Do you love it as much as Mark Kermode does? Or do you just respect it? Or are you one of those people that don't like the film? Well, please, let me know in the comments down below. And also check out all my past videos, including one I did of ranking the best picture nominees that were horror. The Exorcist was part of that lineup. Next time, I'll be reviewing the Jordan Peele produced film, Him. But until then, stay spooky.